So let's start the day already with a reflection. This is based on perhaps my experience teaching in the last days, but also something that I relate to my whole history, thinking about composition, musical composition. So there is something that most composers absolutely do not understand. Those who are studying with me, they understand this already. And this is why they came to me, actually. Composers need a brain power, brain muscle. Very overlooked aspect in the whole education of the composer. Let me tell you a story. When I was studying philosophy, back in the day, and I still, back in the day when I thought that it would be an interesting idea to talk about the phenomenology of spirit in the first date, you know, of Hegel. So these times, there was a friend, good ex-friend of mine, but I wish him very well, very important friend in philosophy, and the Vicente, and he had a very important conviction that had some impact on me. We had an interesting friendship because I think I admired him for the contrary things that I could not do, and I think vice versa. He admired me for other aspects in the way to see philosophy that he was like the contrary. So basically, he's the perfect academic perfectionist, okay? But also perhaps a type of idealist. And he had a very clear vision that you need brain muscle for philosophy. So he had this obsessive idea, and he was always doing things and learning things in this framework that he needs power to deal with very hard discussions, to deal with the academics. And I always thought he was like living another era that was not our era, because I said, hey, calm down, our academics are not so hard to discuss with them, as you imagine. But he's like preparing to discuss in a table with Immanuel Kant, Schopenhauer, drinking a beer, in this level of high discussion. And so he was always in this framework, no, you need to develop brain muscle. And then I thought about this, and I saw, you know, when you recognize something is true, but you are actually in the other way. I was in a way more, I was somehow developing brain muscle, but I was still more like, he could never, he had a system of reading for the whole year, what he will start to read and when it will end, all such things. And I was like a wave in the sea. I took everything and stopped, and more than one book at the same time, and stopped, and music and piano and composing. I was like a wild wind, because I had always the feeling that I lost so many time in life. When I was 20 or 21, I had the feeling that I lost too much time in life. And I saw that Schelling was already teacher with 23, no, in Jena, in Germany. And I saw to myself, hey, what the fuck am I? What are you doing? You get the point. So I was learning Latin with 20 years old by myself and such things. So the brain muscle thing, then it affected me. So speaking about Latin, this is one of the reasons why at the end of my study in philosophy, I was so annoyed by the lessons. And you have to choose which is your your field, it's a discipline. And I started choosing language. So I chose to learn ancient Greek and German and language. So why? Because instead of wasting my time hearing some teachers, not all of them, but some teachers talking no sense. So there was a teacher who asked that I should prove that I exist, you know. But I was feeling like wasting the time, and then I think, oh, let's develop my brain muscle, brain power, and this is the opportunity was to learn Greek. You get the point? And also logic. Very important insight. Now, how is this related to musical composition? It's exactly the same way. Is related exact in the same way. How many times I understood an author and philosopher, and then during the discussion with someone, or like exchanging ideas, I had zero brain muscle to deal with the situation or with the thoughts. You get the point? So, really cognitive abilities. And the other guy who has very strong cognitive abilities, but zero insight and zero comprehension of what, I don't know, Plato wanted to say. So, with the music, it's the same. We learn a lot of theory and a lot of tips and tricks, and we forgot this. We have a paradigm in musical composition where people see the composer as the ooh la la, you have the time, you just need the mouse and you click. It's very bad that you can control a software. This is not a brain muscle. So then which are the abilities that goes in this field? There are all these abilities that you run away from, and that many teachers themselves they don't invest so much. So sight reading, dictate, improvisation. A lot of improvisation. Harmony on piano. So it's a different field. So the preliminary exercise for improvisation. Counterpoint on keyboard. Then another discipline, sing and play. So all those things. And then sight reading at the piano. And then orchestral scores. So all these things we are doing in my lessons with my students, more or less. If not all, but we are going this direction. Because I know that the other parts today, it's not so hard. So that the other aspects, you find it. You go to Wikipedia, you go to YouTube. But still you have to read as well. I think you have to read, it's another topic. And reading, it's also a way to develop your brain muscle. But here I am speaking about the musical muscle. So to put things in time, fast. So this is so decisive. I can't highlight this enough. Okay, so all these abilities, when you start to think about composition from the point of view of these abilities at the start, it makes your life way easier. So the pleasure of being challenged, of the pleasure of being cognitively challenged, okay, most important thing. Then we have the musical muscle, and perhaps the brain muscle in a wide sense of understanding theories, understanding concepts, understanding, so having memory. I have a series of videos about these things. There are these broad aspects as well. So when you are reading something about orchestration analysis, when you are reading Schoenberg, and like thinking and going back, etc., this is also brain muscle. It's not the musical muscle that I'm talking about. That's so underrated. Okay. So these cognitive abilities. Now, then you come to me, but what matters is the mood, is the feeling, because Hans Zimmer just do the mood and the feeling, and the start of the Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know if it's the start. It is just 3 magical notes. Yes. So now imagine that you have the talent of the Hans Zimmer with brain muscle, musical muscle. Then finally you would be able to compare him to our maestro, John Williams, that is 90 years old, and you should give reverence to this man. So, and the guy of the Pink Floyd with the 3 notes, also him, so also cool. They did a game changer in the progressive rock history. Now imagine that they can do better. I was hearing Yes the other day, and I thought Rick Wakeman is really good. But I saw some things that it looks like they want to do something, but it doesn't go there. So, but Rick Wakeman, I perhaps I have to be more careful before I criticize. I think it was the idea of the album. They are not doing classical music, so I can't put them in comparison. So imagine that if they had the more musical muscle. So imagine that you have a truck with a lot of charge and load, okay, of gold that you want to bring from the forest into the castle. Okay, a truck and castle. I don't know, imagine, so the fenders, a truck and a castle, okay. So imagine this. But the tires and the suspension and the engine is like so weak. And then it goes like this, like slowly, and perhaps you don't even reach the finish line. And you have gold inside, very good. But you could reach a more interesting goal. You get the point? So this is with the music. So how many times I had an idea, an insight, a depth of emotion that I could not translate and convert into paper or into the keyboard because I didn't have brain enough. I didn't have RAM enough. So people want to buy 2 Mac Pro Ultra Studios, M4 or M7, to get 200 gigabytes of RAM, something like this. More than me, you don't get. But they forget that they need RAM here, memory RAM here. You get the point? So start from your first days in serious musical education. See the importance of these things, that sometimes they don't look like very connected to musical composition. Like sight reading, singing and playing, you will see how decisive are these things. It's not by mistake that John Williams is the most important composer alive, among the beloved ones and the known ones. Okay, it's not by mistake. He started pianist, orchestrator, co-repetitor. Okay, so he did a lot of brain work as the foundation, and then the passion can flow through it. So he had gold and the engine and the tires and the suspension.